Indigenous. Shout out to the indigenous people. This is something that took place. It's always not a good thing. Man is locked up behind bars as if his life is not over at the time, right? Because when you locked up, as we all, I mean, the majority of people in the world, as sad as it may be, either they've been incarcerated or they know or have a family member who has been. And if you never have been incarcerated, it's cool. It don't make you bigger than a man, less than a man. Facts. So, this dude is locked up, right? And he's catching an asthma attack, and he's complaining that he's catching an asthma attack. Blang! And he gets smacked by the nurse, and she's like, "Stop it! You're not sick. You ODing." Blah! Hold that! Holy snap! It's nuts. Now they under fire. And everybody's pet after the situation. You slapped Thundercats out of homeboy. Nathan Reynaldos, who suffered from asthma, was slapped in the face by a prison nurse and told he was having a drug overdose when he was struggling to breathe. Why nobody believes people when we say, yo, we can't breathe? Like, you're faking. You know why? Because a lot, and I could like picture the situation a little bit, not fully because I'm not in his shoes, but being that from past experiences, I've been incarcerated, so I know how the nurses and the correction officers and a lot of people think that the inmate, the prisoner, whatever they label us, right, is lying, because some people do lie in order to go down to medical, in order to make moves. So she probably looked at him like, come on, like any other inmate, you're lying. But some people, not everybody's a liar, bro. This guy was telling the truth. The 36-year-old suffered an asthma attack that began Monday with questions rise of the quality of care in the jail, right? This is over in Australia. It must be, a lot of places is a lot different. If our medical care is trash, sucks, hard body in our jails in New York City, Rikers Island, the federal joint that they got over here on 29th Street in Sunset Park, all that. If those, imagine, and it's New York, like everybody thinks that New York, everything is better and all that. It's not.
You ain't lying.
But I could just imagine how it is out there for them. Like, sometimes it's not even about the jails popping off and being tough and all that. Sometimes the conditions that they living in are worse. If you think Rikers Island needs to be closed, you could imagine these jails and prisons in places like Australia, Ecuador, Mexico. It's crazy. But check it out, right? We're going to touch on a few things today about prisons and jail and things that's going on, because while we out here, although we going through this situation with the 19, we still get to be at home and we get to laugh and we get to dance and party from time to time if we want to. And in different parts of the world, our people are being super treated like trash, not even like humans. And, one could say, well, you know why? They put themselves there. They committed crime. I've been around a lot of people that was incarcerated. They didn't commit the crime they was arrested for. You know, it's like you're proven guilty already from the gate. And it's not supposed to be like that. So moving right along, right? Check it out. Fellow inmates at the jail broke down in tears as he described trying to help his friend who went stiff while struggling to breathe that night. Wow. You could imagine your friend is dying. He's losing his breath. He can't breathe. You both incarcerated in a jail. You're trying to look for assistance. There's nothing you could do because they take forever to come to you. You know, a lot of times the medical clinic is like across the building. Sometimes in another building, they got to open doors, come through. I always thought they got to put these things a little closer. But who am I, right? But this is why we, as the people, got to work on some form of prison reform. And let it be the topic of conversation. And we may not change anything right then and there, but we can make some people take a look at it. That, you know what? There's a problem here that's been going on for decades, and it only seems to be getting worse. And no one is saying nothing, right? Because it's like the lost world. The people that's supposed to be bad. It's not good. It could be you with the way things are going in the world. One thing about jail and prison is that it's for no one, but it accepts everyone. Facts. That night, his friend was relieved when he seen the nurse walk in, boom, to the cell block. The only nurse on call in that whole prison. One nurse. He was relieved when he seen her. And he thought his friend was breathing, but then he looked again and he seen some yellow fluid coming out of his airwaves. He was distressed after seeing her roll his friend onto his back. I seen her slap him in the face and aggressively shake him and tell him to wake up. The nurse then said to the prison officer that Nathan had a drug overdose. Nah, bro. So she made an assessment right there that this is an overdose. Slap. So I don't know, because that's going to be like open for debate. I'm going to tell you right now what she's going to say. She's going to say she thought he was overdosing because she seen the fluids coming out, and she seen that before when people was going through overdoses, and she figured if she slapped, boom, fire out of him, that he would snap out the overdose. Like if that slap came with Narcan, whatever you call that thing, right? I don't know where she got taught that if you slap the individual, maka, that he wakes up like, oh, I'm good now. I was only playing. The man was yellow stuff, all type of color stuff was coming out his mouth. And he was like that for a while. And mind you that she had to come. Sometimes it takes them a long time to get to the housing unit, bro. Just know. 37 minutes later, after she arrived, he was pronounced dead. About 400 Australians die each year of asthma. Nathan died on a cold floor. On a cold prison floor. with no loved ones around him. He was just 36. He died far too young. Very sad. Very, very sad situation. So, with that being said, shout out to everybody in Australia, man. I got love for Australia. We got a lot of people that watch us in Australia. We got a lot of jail and prison. We're going to throw that up in here in this video. You know, I could make 2 or 3 videos, but we're not going to do that. You know, I keep it 100 for the ones that support me, 100 that are real people. And then we got a lot of stories of me on Rikers Island, in prison, in jail, in New York City. We're going to be bringing back-to-back nonstop content. Thanks for everyone who's been showing me support and love. I love you guys. If you ever thought about opening up a channel, remember, just do it. Don't worry about people. People always going to have something to say. If you plan on going to any platform, you special, you already thinking special, you could DM me on the lockout _. So shout out to the Guardian journalism, right? Origin man convicted in 1988 for killing 2 tourists, dies in prison. Wow. He was convicted in 1988. He's been locked up for a minute, about 30 plus years, right? Wow, that's crazy. But you know what? Some people need to be in jail, man. You know, jail is for some people. I'm not like fully against like people being arrested. I'm against, you already know, anything that has to do with minors, super elderly people. That's coward moves. In his case, I can't really make a quick judgment because I'm not that type of character. I don't know what really took place in his case. But if those people were just looking around, you know, like for vacation with family, you try to rob them, and in the process, you know, you didn't have to go that far and you did it, I don't respect that. He belongs in jail. You feel me? Because you could have let them walk off. There was no need for that. You have no respect for human life. Some people are really animals like that. It's sad, but it's the fact. So Williams, 59 years old, passed away in the infirmary. You already know. While on end of life care, according to the Department of Correction, William was one of 29 people on death row in Oregon and was being held in Oregon State Penitentiary. He was one of 29 people on death row. So when we think that we got it bad out here, when we think that your videos ain't getting enough views and all that, and you getting mad, whatever your situation may be, like, don't get it twisted. We all understand, and I'm pretty sure that you watching, you understand that we're waiting to maletan go and our number to be called. But there's people that know that, yo, in 3 more days, I'm gonna die. Could you imagine that feeling? A lot of times while I was incarcerated, I used to think that way, like, I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna catch new bids. They're gonna put me on death row. Or you know what? Some of us have done some stuff where we're not supposed to be here. I said, you know, they're gonna frame me. Some cases is gonna come up. I'm never gonna be released. That's the only thing I used to think about a lot. There was times that things used to pass through my head. But while I had or 2.5 to 5 or 2 to 4 or 4.5 to 9, I used to think about dudes like Luis Felipe. And I used to say, wow, that brother ain't never gonna come home. Them dudes are locked down under the box. Not seeing nobody, no letters, no nothing. Super inhumane. Animals are not even treated that way. And we know that some of these people, sure, they did things to get incarcerated. We understand. But I think that the punishment that a lot of our peoples is getting, and people in general, especially Latinos and black people, is very super harsh. And them laws were implemented as a way to keep us super down. Times 27. Sad. Something needs to be done. A settlement was also reached in Oregon, right? For 2.75 million for inmates' flu death. Look at that. The settlement comes 9 months after Michael Barton's family filed a 15 million wrongful death lawsuit. The Oregon Department of Corrections agreed to pay a record 2.75 million to the family of a man who died of the flu at the state penitentiary and has apologized for the man's death. Now, in those situations like that, when someone wins a lawsuit for losing a family member, like some people like could be happy of the situation, right? But I don't think that all the time that's not gonna do nothing. You know, like that can't replace your loved one unless you had a super detachment from him. Like, you know, some of us that be incarcerated, we don't really be around our family. And I hope that's not their situation. But some of these families just step up when they know there's money involved. Leave in the comments if you ever experienced something like that or you heard of stories like that. Plenty of times this has happened in the world. A lot. A lot of people act like they really know what we go through and what we suffer while we back there or locked in themselves. When themselves closed, boom, and you get to thinking and you alone, it's like a very stressful process, right? Like even if you got your Jeep, you know, if you got your Jeep, which is your sounds, your headphones, your Walkman, you know, whatever that you was rocking, you know, that's like the only time that you feel little freedom, music, you know, but it could work both ways. Cause when I was listening to music and it was time to lock in, I used to get to thinking and music would take me in a zone and I'll think about the street more. But then again, sometimes I'm like, you gotta ask yourself, if you locked up right now, right? Because some people watch us even from in the prison right now. And that's a fact. You gotta ask yourself, like, what are you rushing to get home to, right? A lot of times I was rushing to get home, and I wanted to hit the street, like, yo, I gotta be released, and you know, it was one of the only times that I used to think about my loved ones, kids, whatever girl I was involved with at the moment, right? But when I was out there and it was all in my face, I was just ripping and running and doing wild things in the street that ended me up behind bars. But all of a sudden, I got locked up and I became like this super emotional dude towards family. And I understand it, right? Like if you're drinking, you smoking, but like a lot of these things are mind altering substances that make us a little cold hearted, right? Like you can't even really shed a tear because your brain is not really there, right? And as much as you don't notice it, the bud, the liquor, the perks, all that's doing like a super damage to your brain and to your body, and it's like making you seem kind of sort of like a monster. But you probably the best dude in the world if someone really sits down and talks to you, because a lot of people used to see us running around the prison on Rikers Island and seeing when we was doing our little, you know, thinking we wilding, gang, repping hard, you already know, right? But when they used to sit down and really talk to me, they'll be like, damn, boy, you a good dude, man. But when you get around other individuals that may come off as they think they tough or they street or they gang, we gotta follow suit and fit right in like boom. You ain't doing that to me though. You ain't doing that to me though. Shout out to homeboy. I remember his name now. Hip Hop Wild. That's his channel. I like, you know why? I'm gonna tell you, not to get off topic, but you know how we do. That's his thing, right? I just always wanted to say that. I see him going far. The black brother. You know why? Because anytime that you sound different from everybody else, it's something unique. He has a different type of podcasting voice. Everybody's looking for that deep, raspy voice. That's what they look for in this podcasting world. So while somebody else may be laughing at your voice because you talk like Warpath, right? Like a man because you talk deep, right? The podcasting industry, they don't want people coming on, to make it professionally, coming on and be like, well, how you doing, guys? Today we're here to break down that 3 people just escaped from Attica Correctional Facility. Tomorrow, we're going to get into the new dynamics of things, and we're going to break down this whole situation. You know what I mean? And without no disrespect to nobody. Boop, 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 bing. You know how we do. Hip Hop Wow. Shout out to you, homie. Facts. Keep doing you. I like that. We not haters over here. Shout out to everybody doing them. If you ever thought about opening up a channel, just do it. This is the way to go. It's been the way to go. Media, internet, online business, online growth is for everybody. And you got something that people want to hear. You special. Put it out there. Not everybody needs to come on with a message. You know what I mean? You do what you do, whether you're reporting, whatever your journalism work you're doing, just do it. I always try to be encouragement or motivation to the peoples, because I too, if I could come from jail, prison, the gutter, the slum, the streets, and I started doing something to occupy my time, that in the long run may pay off. You get out of things what you put in. Then it's always a beautiful thing when you could do some entrepreneur stuff and become an entrepreneur and make your own lane, you heard? And pave your own way and open doors for other people that come behind you. That is the gold. I love you. My name is Warpath. You already know it's on the lockout. We got a lot more content. Tomorrow we got more content. The link is in the description. But Red Circle, subscribe, show support so you could get all the podcast audio that's not on here on the tube or nowhere. Sometimes I put the same videos here, but in audio form. So if you driving and all that, you can hear it. It's on Spotify, it's on iHeartRadio, it's on Overcast. Anywhere you listen to your podcast show is on. But the link to Red Circle is going to be in the description, in the top if you watch it on the desktop, and in the About section on your phone or everything. You go to the About section by the Community tab, and you go to the bottom, and you're going to see these red little lines, and you hit that, boop, and it's going to take you right to the public page. Red Circle, you already know, the podcast industry hosting service managers, the best ones out there. Facts. Red Circle. Let's go.